I don't usually do these types of videos. I'm I'm at a loss for words right now, really. Uh, Look, this is just gonna be like a little rant. Not really a rant, just an expression of, I don't know, just my thoughts on this whole YouTube Google Plus invasion. Uh, Now look, ever since its inception, back in 2005, I remember seeing YouTube for the first time. My cousin showed it to me to show, I don't know, just some funny cartoon animated video that someone had made. Those were the early days, uh, back when, uh, well, she showed me that video, and like everything in related videos, almost everything, was just a whole bunch of re-uploads of pretty much that same video. That was like the early days of YouTube when there wasn't the vast amount of content that there is now. Uh, but ever since the early days and up until 2010, YouTube had its fair share of changes, its improvements, its you know ups and downs in quality and design and whatnot. But for the most part, from 2005 to 2010, YouTube was generally very recognizable. Its layout stayed overall the same. I believe it was 2009 there was the first major change to the channels, or was it 2008? I think it was I joined YouTube in 2009. Like, I made my account and all that. I believe after going around the site a little more, getting a little more involved, engaged, looking around, I believe the first major I came in after the first after the first uh, major design change to my knowledge, which would probably be the channel design 2.0. Uh, I heard that was somewhat of an unwelcome change. I wouldn't know because I didn't have a channel of my own until after the change. But I have seen pictures of like the old channels, and very they looked very similar, or at least uh, in the family, if you could call it that, of the second design channel, the one I had when I started out. So I heard the original channels were better. I'm not qualified to comment on whether or not they were. I wasn't there to see them. I never did see them. They quite possibly were. There's a very vocal majority who spoke out and said that the old ones were better. So all right, I'll give them that. The old ones probably were better. I can't say for myself. But I have seen pictures of both the original YouTube channels and the 2.0 design, which is the one I had, and they looked, while different, they were still like recognizably in the same sort of, well, like I said, family. Both of them had like the little thing at the top with like videos, playlists. You had the little bars on the side with like favorites, uploads underneath, like little lists you could open. One big video displayed in the center, and underneath you had like you had the comments, people had left. You had the what's it called? The subscriptions, and you had the friends box. Oh, and a little thing on the side, if you wanted, you could see like a little history of your own or whoever else's with like videos you had liked or commented. No. What am I saying? Liked? It was 5 stars back then. 5 stars. But yeah, that was the first major design change. I'm kind of going off on really long tangents. I think this video, rather than just being about Google Plus, will just be my overall thoughts on YouTube's downfall over the years. Its slow descent on the slippery slope of becoming MySpace. So yeah, that was the first major design change. I wasn't there to live it, but overall in the YouTube layout itself, the video page, the search page. The search page, I believe, hasn't really changed that much, like in ever. The home page has received many updates, for better or for worse. The video player page was like the meat and potatoes of YouTube, if you will. Obviously where everyone would watch the videos and whatnot. And that, while I remember like watching YouTube videos after doing homework when I was like 11 or 12 and stuff. And I would see gradual, slow, small changes to the like video player and other stuff on the video page. Very minor changes. Usually things such as before it was just play in high quality, which was like a little text thing under the video. Then that was integrated into instead just a button on the player, a little HQ button, which would be like high quality. Or if you uploaded in really good quality, there was a little HD option, I believe. So those were all very minor changes, very acceptable, very reasonable. Overall, it would only be mostly very small aesthetic changes like that. Then in 2010, what was it, like March 1st or 2nd, maybe 3rd? I'm not sure. In March, was it March or was it May? Well, point is, in 2010, there was the first big YouTube just overhaul. Just, I don't know, someone came with a jackhammer and like, and just rearranged everything in a really big bad way. And there was some backlash over that. That was, people were like, which, it just came out of left field. At least I think it came out of left field. I don't remember there being any sort of announcements. Maybe they were. I wasn't really all of that, like, into YouTube announcements and stuff at the time. I still am not. A lot of these changes that come by totally catch me off guard for the most part. Unless there's like, a large amount of anticipation beforehand. But that was the first major design change. I've obviously grown to be able to live with it. I've grown used to it. And it's still more or less the makeover of the YouTube page we have now. As of the date of this video, at least, which is November 11th. Is today the 11th? Give me a minute. Yes, today is November 11th of 2013, at least here in the video. Where did I leave off a moment? Oh, right. So that was the first time big YouTube change, and very few people liked it, but overall that change was more than anything a lateral move, if you will. Nothing was added. I believe there was nothing added. And nothing was really removed, at least nothing major that anyone really noticed, to my memory. Everything was just kind of rearranged, rather needlessly, I still believe. Two major changes existed that I think were the biggest. Now, well, one major change was the videos on the next to the video player, the related videos. You used to have two little things you could scroll on. One was like related videos. You would just scroll through that without having to go away from the video you were watching. It was like a little rectangle like sub menu all on its own, and you could just scroll through it without moving the actual page. And there was another one that was like a fold-up menu. I believe they were both like drop-down fold-up menus or whatever, which was like other videos from this uploader, other videos from this user or whatever. And during that change, the other uploads from this user button, I believe, went above the video, and it was still like a drop-down menu, like you go, but now it would scroll sideways. I always thought that a change that should be done was to let you scroll, I believe it was backwards from the video you're watching, because it would only let you see uploads after the video you're watching. I'm like, no, it would be cool if I could see uploads before. But that was not a really bad change. One thing I didn't really like was that the related videos, however, weren't their own drop-down menu anymore. Now they were like a thing you would like. You would have to scroll down. They were like embedded into the page. You would have to scroll down in the page to see those videos. That was annoying because you had to leave the video, but I can see its use in that it would encourage you to see more videos at the same time scroll down and see more comments in the videos, and therefore making you a little more likely to engage with other users on the site, making it a more social experience without, losing the whole, watch out, this isn't a social network, this is still YouTube. Because, I'm sure in the back of our minds, just about everyone always wanted like a little YouTube chat option or something like that, but it was never a major thing because we all knew this isn't a social network. If you want to chat with someone on YouTube, add them onto your Facebook or something, or your Messenger. Back when that existed, and whatnot. But you could still personal message them and whatnot. It was a little clunky. As of the uploading, it still is. There's some things that could be changed, but overall, it was and still is a relatively stable experience. The whole social thing on YouTube, going down, meeting people in the comments, private messaging each other, blah blah blah. The other changes were, number one major change was 5-star ratings were taken away for like and dislike, famously. This, most people that I'm aware of don't like this. I personally prefer the star rating system for myself, but I read a YouTube blog post. Well, I didn't read it. I saw someone put it in a video, and I read it there, explaining YouTube's reasoning behind this. And that was, people only ever use the 1 or 5-star ratings anyway. So we should just switch, to like a binary system of just, good or bad, and let users balance out the good and bad, when they see the like and dislike bars. Okay, there's some valid reasoning, I can see that. Personally, I preferred the system where you could hit, even if people were only hitting, 1 star or 5 stars, if they really, really liked the video or whatever, or they just really hated it, especially if it was an opinion video, a point of view video, someone arguing about something, be it whatever, politics, religion, whatever, any sort of sensitive topic, anyone who, and I'm guilty of this myself, anyone who would see one of these videos, if it was for your point of view, regardless, you would always hit 5 stars, well, almost always. You wouldn't even bother to see the whole video, see if it had good production value, or if it was just fun to watch. The guy was making good, sensible points. No, it's was he on my side? All right, 5 stars. What do you say? Is he against my side? All right, no stars or 1 star. That would happen a lot. So yeah, I can see that, but overall, on most videos, it would balance. I think it would balance out for like this many people hit 1 star and this many people hit 5 stars. And that would like it would like balance out. See if it's like, okay, so that's worth still 5 stars or 4 or 3 when you put it all together, balance it out. It would kind of I think it would give you more of an idea of the quality of the video. But at the end of the day, that's not a huge issue. It's just a very minor to mid-sized part of the YouTube experience. Oh, hello, YouTube experience. Oh, but it was. I personally prefer the star rating system, but it's it's still useful in its own right. The whole like and dislike system. After a while, you could like get used to it. It was more effective if like a lot of people saw the video and a lot of people were rating. But but yeah. And for the most part, after that initial 2010 change, for I would say 1 or 2 years, it became. YouTube had pretty much, like, the first 2 weeks or a month or so, maybe, after the initial change, everything sort of died down, and people, like, they got used to it, they went on with that, and YouTube continued more or less as it had ever since the beginning. There were still a lot of people every now and then saying, remember this, remember that, and, that's just a part of YouTube now. That's, people reminiscing about the past, talking about, remember when you had this, remember when you had that, and those generally would get a lot of upvotes, like, But YouTube continued very stable after that. But in all that, I can personally admit there was one major change, ever in that initial 2010 change, that ever since the beginning, I thought, that's a good idea. And that was in the comment system. They added the whole highest rated comments or top comments. Comments who had like the most thumbs up would be at the top. And I'm like, that, no two ways about it. That's a good idea. That's clever. Some people will complain about, well, you can't, like, minimize it to see the rest of the comments. Very minor issue. You just have to scroll down a little more. It would be cool if they had added something to minimize it, but whatever. But the whole top comment system, that was very useful. It let you see a lot of very insightful or very witty comments at times. Of course, there was the problem of well, not really a problem, but the little pet peeve a lot of people had of people would talk about thumbs up if this, thumbs up if that, and they would get like 1,000 thumbs up. So, and those would just be at the top. But, you can ignore them if you wanted. It's. Yeah, I guess it could get annoying, but, I myself posted like 1 or 2 of those once or twice. I can only remember 1 or 2. Something about, on a Super Luigi Galaxy video, you put like thumbs up if Luigi is better than Mario, and, it had like 1,000 thumbs up. On the Metroid Other M, E3 release video when I was like super hyped when it was announced back in like 2009, I put thumbs up if Metroid is better than what's it called? No wait, what am I saying? This was in 2010. Like the trailer was released in 2009, but I didn't put this comment until 2010. Whatever, I'm going off on a tangent, but basically I put thumbs up if Metroid is better than Halo, and yeah, that got a lot of thumbs up. Sparked a little bit of controversy. Some people were like, no. Some people were like, yeah, right on. But whatever. Before the game came out, and it was the train wreck that turned out to be. But beside the point. That's a topic for another video if I feel like making one. Back to YouTube. But basically, that was the one change I liked. Sure, there was the slightly obnoxious thing of people going way too trigger happy with the whole thumbs up if this, thumbs up if that. But you know what? People abusing something or just being annoying is something that comes with the territory in like everything. So you just gotta learn to deal with it. There's just no way to keep people from doing that. Now, but as I was saying, YouTube continued rather stably for the next for some time. Any changes that were made were very minor changes, very like, oh, now we're moving the dislike bar and like bar from, we're merging them together into one bar. We're moving from here to here. Then like there's that one, I believe it was December of 2012 maybe, where the dislike bar stopped being red and now it was gray, which put an end to the your what's it called? Your video has so many dislikes it looks like a Darth Vader lightsaber jokes in the comments. But because the dislike bar was now gray, it looked more like a lightsaber hilt, and that created a start to the your video has so many likes it looks like a Luke lightsaber jokes. But beside the point. Well, yeah, YouTube continued relatively stably until for 1 or 2 years, I believe. Yes, I believe. Well, I would say 1 year and a half. Because in mid 2011, there was the announcement in the whole YouTube test tube place or whatever, where they like test out. They would like, I don't know if it's still there or not, but they would like test out new features and stuff of the site. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. That's people don't like change. But if YouTube comes up with like some legitimately good changes, that it's a good idea for them to test them out beforehand and get people's feedback on it. That's the way to go about it. That's no two ways about it. That is smart. But then it was announced like the biggest change was like the Cosmic Panda thing, and that's I even feel weird saying that. It's like such a weird name. It's like Cosmic Panda, and that was like the new YouTube redesign, which people were like, what, really, so soon? You just changed it 1 year ago, because yeah, it was mid 2011, and I believe the 2010 change was like close to mid 2010, so it was about a year and change, But Cosmic Panda received some. I tried it out a couple of times. I put it on. I sent them feedback and said, you know what, guys, this ain't so hot, But I did tell them, but I do like that you're asking us before putting a change, imposing a change on us, rather. Before adding something, you're testing it out. All right, that's the way to go about it. Look, I don't like this, but I will give you props that you're doing it the right way. Of course, a lot of that feedback would never go through. You would send feedback, and you'd be there like, and it would just sit there on the page. You're like, and it would never go through. You're like, what are they afraid of negative criticism? That they're like, they have like a bugged feedback system? Because it's happened more than once. But beside the point, let's try and keep on track. And then we all knew Cosmic Panda was coming. There was no way around it. YouTube, by that point, was firmly established in our minds through a series of smaller, minor changes, not huge layout overhauls, but like things with like the homepage. The homepage would still change a lot, often quite for the worse. But the whole Cosmic Panda thing, we all knew it was coming. We were sort of slowly bracing for it, and at the same time praying that they would listen to the negative feedback and not make a huge overhaul to it. And eventually, Cosmic Panda did come. But, and I can give YouTube some credit for this, but when it came was, I believe, December of that year, December 2011. The change came in. YouTube was now a Cosmic Panda style YouTube, but the changes were much less drastically pronounced than they were in the Cosmic Panda trial version. The Cosmic Panda trial version had changed YouTube's signature colors from white and red to black and red, and that made the site feel a lot more claustrophobic, a lot more strange, a lot like when YouTube has like its Earth Day or whatever, and gives you the option to turn off the light, and like the whole site turns black except for the video. Well, like it turns darker, not pitch black to where you can't see, but stay on track, stay on track. Let's and well, that the changes, there were changes, but they were much less drastic, and for the most part, the YouTube video page and overall stayed relatively the same. It still had the same features, click on the comment box to also make the video response button appear. Your like and dislike buttons were still there. For the most part, it was all pretty much the same. There were some Cosmic Panda-y things here and there, like the YouTube logo was now like a more gradient color scheme. It wasn't as plain. Minor change. Some people, I personally still prefer the old, slightly brighter YouTube logo, but that's a very small nitpick right there. And ever since then, there has been, well, it appears that every year, ever since then, December 2011, every year around the holiday season, close to like Christmas, usually like December 1st, December 2nd, around there's a big YouTube overhaul. There was in 2011, there was in 2012. Usually starts with the homepage, and slowly but surely, the whole YouTube, the YouTube designs that have come and gone over the years, every time a new one comes in, they seem to slowly but surely be slowly just kind of molding the YouTube interface and slowly integrating it with Google+. And just a quick overview history, Google+ is like Google's Facebook, if you will. It's a social networking service, which was created, I don't know when they started work, but I believe it was launched in mid-2011, right when the Cosmic Panda thing started brewing, started. And very slowly but surely, they've slowly built that into YouTube. And little by little, YouTube has been looking more and more like a social network, let's be honest. Mostly on the homepage, but there was some changes here and there have been, that make it a little more, two things. One, social networky, and two, more business-y, or taking away the idea of individuals using YouTube and making it more for like channels or abstract entities using YouTube, if that makes any sense. How do I explain this? Well, after the 2011 Christmas change, when Cosmic Fandom finally came in, that was a change to the homepage and to the video page. But your channel pages stayed the same. But we all knew they wouldn't, because there was a new channel design that was announced that they were testing out. And when your channel would get it, you could switch it back for a while. Because YouTube usually gives the option to keep doing what you're doing for a little while. 2-3 months max. And when the channel change was announced, that one was like, whoa, as I said at the beginning, the original channel change was different. Reportedly, remember, I didn't see the original channel design, but it was different but recognizable. It was still in the family of, like, you could still recognize the second channel design and the first channel design. There was still, customizable colors and the little friends list and the subscriptions bar and the favorites and uploads and whatnot, all on one page, all right there in front of you. You didn't really have to scroll around. You could if you wanted to, but you didn't have to. You could check it all on, mostly all of it on one page if you wanted to. Then the 3.0 version of the channels came along. And that channel design was, let's not, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That channel design looked like, I don't know, like a first day intern had designed it at Google or something. Someone who knew nothing about YouTube or web design or whatever. And, well, it was all gray. You can still have your channel background, like, in the back, but the YouTube channel itself lost all option for color, and it was now gray, like different tones or shades of gray. And there were, like, about, I believe, 4 templates you could choose from. You couldn't customize your channel almost at all. There was very little option for doing so. And then one of the changes that was made before the whole, absolute channel, like, established, like, everyone has these channels now, it's not in the trial thing anymore, was the removal of the friends list. People were like, where'd my friends list go? It was just gone. But you could still, anyone who still had the old channel design, you could go to their profile during this whole slow transition, their friends list would be gone. The thing that said add as friend was gone. Now there was a little thing that said add as contact. And I'm like, you're like, that seems very weird. That's not, it's not a very personal way of addressing someone. Like, you're my friend. No, it's like, no, you're just a contact for me, as if I was, like, a business or a corporation. Which is, like, slowly, what I was referring to, like, they're making YouTube more like a social network for businesses to an extent. It sounds weird, almost like an oxymoron, but, that's what it is, or how I can best describe it, I think. And then, so the friends list was gone. Now everyone was just a contact. But then when the channels were finally updated, like, for sure now it's, there's your new channel design. It sucks, but live with it, as Google often does. The whole add as contact thing was gone now. It was just, I believe it was just send message or block user. You couldn't add as contact or friend. I heard there was a way you could still add people as contact, but it was like some backdoor method where you had to, like, copy and paste that person's name into your inbox and then do this or that. I'm not entirely sure. Or your address book on YouTube or whatever. It was a very, back alley type of way to do it. Very impractical. Very bad web design. Unless YouTube was trying to phase out the idea of friends or contacts altogether, in which case, very good web design for their purpose. Obviously, we don't like it, but that's what they did. God forbid they actually wanted to do that, but can't put anything past them, almost. Now, that was a, in my opinion, very bad choice, but after that, things didn't really stabilize on YouTube as they did after the first major design. As I said, there were major changes on a yearly basis, like major overhauls, and smaller changes gradually throughout the year, like that channel change. And then again, there was a channel change about a year later. I would assume that YouTube understood that nobody likes this, because when that channel change came along, the gray one, the 3.0 version, that more or less, I believe, killed a good percentage of the social experience on Facebook, the social interaction. I was never a huge part of those little communities that would form, but you could see on a lot of close-knit YouTube groups, you could see if you would go onto someone's channel for whatever reason, there would more often than not, be in the comment section, almost like back and forth discussions between users. When the channel change to version 3.0 came along, that seemed to stop. Channels looked a lot more barren. You could still easily leave a comment when visiting a channel, but it wouldn't immediately pop up. You would have to go to like feed and then comments, click, click, click. You had to like dig around to find stuff that that used to be there very practically and very simply. Video thumbnails were much bigger, and it really made everything unnecessarily big just for the sake of whoa, it's big. Oh. And it just felt disorganized and uncomfortable. Now, as of the making of this video at least, now there is a fourth channel design. And when that one came along, I wasn't as upset anymore, because I didn't like the channel design before it to begin with, so it felt like I didn't feel like I was losing anything. I'm like, I wish my channel was like it used to be, but with this change, I'm not. I almost never go onto my own channel anymore. If I do, it's usually by accident, like I clicked on it by accident or something. But I wasn't as upset over that change. I was just like, bummer, but what are you gonna do? And I'm like, whatever. I didn't like the design before anyway, so it just felt like a lateral move to me. Like, it doesn't really affect me. I don't look at it anyway. But and then now we're at this point. It's, at least as of the uploading of this video. Here in the video, it's around the time of year where you'd expect a big change was coming. I would expect December 2nd, but it seems like a big change came before that, November 6th, I believe. There were people who knew about this about a month in advance from the research that I did afterwards. I was not one of them. Like I said, I'm not very active in the whole what's YouTube up to, circle. So when it came out, I was totally hit out of left field. I was like, what? And the major change this time, wow, it's like 38 and a half minutes into the video, and I'm barely getting around to the whole Google Plus thing. I apologize, this is going on way too long, but maybe, I don't know, it could be useful for someone listening to while playing a video game or something. That's what I do anyway. I like to do anyway. Or draw or whatever. Now YouTube has gone along with making a change to the comment system by integrating it further with, as I mentioned earlier, YouTube was slowly getting integrated with Google+. And now the YouTube comment section is like a firm part of Google+. Like, you need Google+ to comment. Why is that? Well, first of all, let me just clarify. Personally, I hope this is it. This is the major change for this year. But realistically, I can still see it happening, that YouTube makes another big change in about a month's time, in December. I sincerely hope they don't. I pray to God they don't, but it's YouTube. They most likely will. Now, back on topic. What I was saying. Google Plus, is slowly being integrated. And why is that? Well, because as I said earlier, Google Plus was YouTube's social network. It was like their answer to Facebook. Like YouTube was like, we're big, but we don't dominate social networks. We need to let's make one, and they made it, and they called it Google Plus. And Google Plus was a colossal failure. There were people that used it just to check it out, but it was being, you had Google Plus preachers, talking about this is going to be the Facebook killer, this and that. Fast forward to 2 years later, Facebook is still going strong, and Google Plus has its active user base, but not nearly to the degree that Facebook does. And well, I've heard numbers that Google Plus has 100 million users and all that. Yeah, but whoa, users doesn't equal active accounts. Remember that. Keep that in mind. And many of those are, I believe, just sort of. Keep in mind, Google has slowly been integrating Google Plus with other things, hoping to make Google Plus their overall, what do they call it, social networking layer or something like that. Why is that? Because as I said, Google Plus was a tremendous bomb. It was a colossal failure. It didn't come anywhere near the expectations they had for it, and it could not hold a candle to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any of those. And, well, they were like, oh, very few people had a Google Plus page. Now, there were some, but a lot of them were from major groups, businesses, corporations, networks, whatnot. Some YouTubers, but major YouTubers and whatnot. I know, personally, I think I know one person with a Google Plus account. And, well, it's, pretty obvious. Google Plus, as I said, was a bomb. But Google, well, decided we've got to make this Facebook killer somehow, which I don't think will happen in the foreseeable future. That's just me, but so what they've done now is to slowly go and integrate it with everything, and now Google Plus is a near mandatory add-on to YouTube. At the moment, you need Google Plus to comment on YouTube. I think that's temporary. I believe sooner or later all channels will be forced to have a Google Plus account just to sign in. That's my theory. It may take a while, it may be very fast, but I can certainly see that happening with Google's slow trend of slowly moving forward, just slowly taking over the internet. Hopefully, well, they want to. I sincerely hope they don't, because that would create a monopoly and they'd be in total control with no one to stare them down. Now, this just makes Google come across as sore losers, number one. Number two, people will very likely use Google Plus only because they have to. There will probably be some people who get active on it, grow to like it. All right, more power to them. I hope they like it. Better to be happy about something than sad. But probably a good majority of users will have Google Plus just kind of there, just so they can comment. Go about their usual YouTube business. The YouTube commenting system is not very good, because they removed the one thing that I thought was the one good change that came with the initial 2010 overhaul, and that was the top comment system. Now, there is still, as of the moment I'm making this video, there is still a little bar that allows you to show top comments in the video feed, and that's on by default. But it's not top comments in the sense that they're the two highest voted. They very well may be, but when I've gone on the video page, I haven't seen the votes, the little thumbs up for the comments. I haven't seen them for some, but for a whole lot they haven't been there, and they're like comments from like videos from like, I don't know, let's say a month ago. I knew this comment was there. It had been in the top for a while. My first comment on YouTube eventually became a top comment. You know, nice little thing. Those comments don't have thumbs up anymore. I suspect that those are probably the accounts that don't have Google Plus. Don't have Google Plus integration, rather. And with that comes, you can't thumb them up, thumb them down. You can't reply to them. Basically, if you don't have Google Plus, your only way of connecting with people on YouTube is private messaging. For now. So, Google is coming across like a bunch of sore losers. Honestly, and not only that, they're annoying their user base by forcing them to use something they don't want to use. If Google Plus was going to be the Facebook killer, if it was gonna be a success, it would have happened by now. It's been 2 years now. Of course, Facebook was created in, what was it, 2004, and it didn't catch on till 2007, I believe, like in a major way. Maybe that could have happened with Google Plus. Or apparently we'll never know, because now it's sort of being forced to happen. But this commenting system, I believe it's probably just the beginning. I don't know. But well, yeah, you can't really connect with people. Things get marked as spam. Now there's no limit to the character amount that you can type in the comments. Now, character limits were kind of a problem for me if I had like a very strong opinion in comment sections. It would be something like oh, I can't finish typing my comment. Well, I can open up. I can just post this comment and continue, re-reply and get another 500 characters and just keep typing. The only real minor inconvenience was from your inbox, you couldn't see like the first part of your comment. It would only link you to like the latest piece of your comment. Whatever, minor change. I've always advocated for a larger comment character limit, but as far as I can tell, now it's just unlimited. And that has led to a lot of people like just using the comment system draw. Now, apparently you can leave links. There's a spam link going around of like a scary, what is it, Jeff the Killer face? What do they call him? Something. That leaves like a sound or something when it opens up. I clicked on one of those comments. I didn't see the thing. I could hear like a thing coming out of my headphones, but it like opened in another tab, so I couldn't confirm if that was the one because I never saw the thing. I just heard that was like I'm like, it's a spam link, and I X'd out the tab. But yeah, now there's like spam going around. People are drawing obnoxious pictures. I've seen some, there could very well be some good pictures. There's nothing wrong with people drawing pictures in the comments, Sure, they'll leave some like, obnoxious ones or, some obscene pictures here and there in places they shouldn't be. But that, as I said earlier, that's people. It comes with the territory. But yes, it's very annoying now because YouTube keeps asking me, update your channel, update your channel. Often when I would comment for the past 2 or 3 months before uploading this, I knew there was probably some kind of major change coming because often, well not often, but like, I'd say 1 out of every 10 times it would ask me if I tried, well, maybe 7 times, I don't know, whatever, just at seemingly random intervals, if I would try to comment something, it would tell me, you need to, what is it? It would ask me if I wanted to change my YouTube name. I'm like, no. It would integrate my YouTube with a Google Plus page, and I'd be like, no. I would unlink it. It would ask you why. Because I don't want this. I would tell them, leave it in the feedback, click the option, send it back. And what would appear at the top? A little banner that says, alright, we'll ask you again later. I've seen that banner probably well over 20 times. I don't want to be asked again later. But those are just my overall thoughts on this sort of slow decline of YouTube, which is, as of the uploading of this video, or filming of this video, I don't know when it'll go up, but if at all, it's culminated so far in this Google Plus integration. I believe that's probably just the beginning of a slow Google Plus overtake. My biggest fear, worst case scenario, is that YouTube gets phased out entirely and just becomes Google Video again, but I don't think that'll happen because, like, the name YouTube is just recognizable in and of itself now. So I don't think they could get away with, like, doing away with, like, the YouTube brand. But the site will probably be pretty close to unrecognizable in the near future. And no, I just wish Google would hold Q&A sessions or direct interaction sessions. Not, actually listen to people, talk to actual people, because the whole I saw a video from the Archfiend, who and he was reading about when this change was made. It said it was like a YouTube blog post or something. It said, "We hear you. Better commenting coming to YouTube," or something along those lines. It was like, we hear you. We hear you. Who was complaining about the commenting system? YouTube comments are known for being a very unruly, crazy place. But as I said earlier, that's not really a fault of the system. That's the users. It comes with the territory, and people have the right to, or have the, the capacity also to ignore obnoxious people if they want to, if they so choose. You don't need to force a change like this new commenting system that sort of promotes censorship and whatnot. Like, makes it a lot of comments get marked as spam when they're not. Comments that are spam don't get marked. It's harder to reply directly. It doesn't even appear in your inbox. And basically, I wish YouTube would hear us directly. They need to make some sort of, some kind of, direct way to, like, contact them. Not just, like, send a vague message off. Maybe contact some kind of intern working there or some automated reply thing. No. YouTube, actually listen. And look, Google is notorious for being a company that really likes to, like, hold on to your personal data. It's well known, I believe, in the in, like, the terms of use and whatnot that you never read, but that you didn't read when you clicked, and I agree to these, that if you give them their data, it's theirs to use for almost whatever they want. And Google Plus is like that. Now Facebook, I'm not saying Facebook doesn't, like, keep people's data and whatnot. It's well known that they almost certainly do. But Google is, like, out and out even worse as far as I know. And really, in these sensitive times of, especially politically sensitive times, with, like, obviously there's been controversy about, like, in America, the Patriot Act and whatnot ever since 9/11. But now with the whole, like, the NSA controversies and all this stuff, and these, like, internet privacy sensitive times, YouTube has done a major disservice to themselves by linking up with Google Plus and forcing people to like use your real name, give us your real information. No. Like this feeds into directly like any sort of conspiracy thing you could imagine. Like either that or it's just majorly stupid planning on YouTube's part. It's ridiculous. But well, yeah, that's overall my thoughts. Look at this. This 55 and a half minutes. That's crazy. I expected to like sit down here and talk for like 20 minutes tops, but if nothing, I guess that's just a testament to really how much YouTube is just screwing up. So that's it for this video. Comment if you can. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on this. And I love watching other people's videos on this. There was that one girl that wrote a song about it. Yeah, but so yeah, this video has gone way too long. I apologize, people, whoever you are watching this. Unless you wanted to hear a long discussion about this. But yeah. Yeah, so that's just my overall thoughts. I don't like the whole Google Plus YouTube thing. Hopefully it'll turn out maybe somewhat, I don't know, maybe hopefully we'll all grow used to using it, but I really hope YouTube doesn't go the way of MySpace. They have the monopoly over videos, and that's both a blessing and a curse. So, yeah, well, that's my thoughts. This has gone on for way too long. See you.